Hi, this is Jason from Schley's Bonsai and Supplies. Today I wanted to talk about air layering. This tree is a ficus. Right now we're in the hot months of the year. The nights are above 60. This guy is in active growth right now. This is a perfect time to air layer a ficus when you're going to have nights that are going to stay above 60 for the next 2 months. This is a Green Island ficus. It's the round leaf variety. It's healthy. It's well fertilized. It's not pot bound. This was potted in this pot last year. The problem is there's not really any movement or any interest on this trunk, and it's too thick to really air layer it, or too thick to bend it. So what we're going to do today is air layer it. This is going to be my tree, this little guy right here. All of this is too straight, there's no motion, but up top we have this potential canopy that could be a really sweet little tree. So I'm going to air layer this. Air layering is a great technique to not only, instead of throw pieces away or try to root them as cuttings, you'll get a better even root base. This plant actually would root here in Florida pretty easily, but it would probably root on one side. It wouldn't have a real even radial root pattern. It wouldn't have a powerful base over the next 5 to 10 years. So we do the air layering technique to create a better base, because we want the tree to appear like it's a natural nabari or root. It's just like a regular tree. If you want to pan over to a regular tree, you can see the nice flare of the roots. So that's what we try to achieve naturally with that natural look with our bonsai. Typically the way I air layer is I use a sharp blade that's been sterilized in Lysol. I use sphagnum moss that has KLN rooting in the water as well, and a piece of aluminum foil. Usually I use the shiny side in, mainly because birds really are attracted to the aluminum foil. Some people like to use plastic. Some people will even use a little pot. It doesn't matter. The trick is to keep the medium in there. If you use plastic and then cover it with aluminum foil, that's nice because it keeps the sun out, so the roots will root all the way to the edge. Whereas if you have plastic and the sunlight hits there, the roots don't get in out to the edge of the plastic as much, so it slows the rooting down. Using just aluminum foil is just as easy. It doesn't necessarily hold the moisture in as well, but it's a lot quicker. If I'm doing 100 of them a day, I want to make sure that I can do it efficiently. What I'm going to do is, first thing I do is I look at the thickness of the trunk, and I'm going to make a girdle around the trunk completely to expose underneath the cambium layer, so we can actually create buildup of nutrients up top here, so it will spur the cambium to start dividing, and in absence of light it'll issue roots. The way a tree grows is they have a cambium. As it develops, becomes xylem and phloem. One slowly becomes the bark, and the other one slowly becomes the sapwood, later into the heartwood as it continues to grow. What we're doing is cutting all that off except for last year's sapwood. What that'll do is it'll allow moisture to come up from the roots to the leaves. Leaves will, through photosynthesis, will create starches and sugars. In return, that'll be tried to be utilized and stored throughout the plant, so it'll work its way back down, but it'll be stopped short because we've cut it all off. So what'll happen is it'll build up top here. All of that energy, those starches and sugars will build up in this ring, and as it starts to divide, as the cambium starts to divide and thicken, it'll start creating callus material, and afterwards it'll actually start issuing roots. And because we girded it all the way around, you'll actually have roots issuing from all over. You could also use a little bit of rooting powder on the top, or you can use what I did, KLN rooting hormone, just a few drops in some aluminum or some sphagnum moss. Some people are really concerned about the sphagnum moss keeping moist, which is a valid concern. You can either open the top a little bit, so when you water, you're watering a little bit up top, or you can just check it periodically. I've never had them dry out. They actually usually will keep pretty moist by themselves because the sapwood is moist and it wicks into the sphagnum moss. And that's it. In 2 to 3 months, this will be full of roots, this particular variety. Some varieties like junipers may take a year. Old black pines may take a few years. But most of the time when we do this, we expect to be able to take it off within 3 to 6 months. Younger stuff roots a lot faster, but the trade-off is you don't get the already have a nice thick trunk. In a little bit I'll show you what they look like after 2 or 3 months from now. Turn them on.